I want to talk about this a little bit, guys. We have a Fantastic Four trailer tonight. Now, would this technically be trailer number 3? Is it a full-ass trailer? Or is it like a special look kind of thing? I'm not really sure. I do know for sure that I will be keeping an eye out for this. If it's something really substantial, I'll probably make a video about it. Either way, I'll talk about it on stream tomorrow. Remember, that stream will be pre-recorded. I will be flying. I'll be flying to New York City. But you guys will still get the stream because I'll pre-record it and drop it around that time. So just want to put this on your radar. I don't know. Do you guys know what it's going to be? Has anybody heard any rumors about this? I will say that the little TV commercial thing they did in the elevator, did y'all see this? So they have Sue Storm, Reed Richards, and Johnny all in an elevator. It's actually awesome. Johnny is so good. Like, dude, he's killing it. Joseph Quinn, he's killing it as Johnny, which is good because I had all sorts of concerns because they were like, yo, he's not going to chase tail anymore. I'm like, what the fuck? But for now, so far, so good. Absolutely love that. Reed seems perfect in it. Sue was great. And hot. So I think they're cooking with the marketing here with Fantastic Four. Now, the question is, right? Are we in a little bubble? Like, are we in a bubble where it seems like Fantastic Four's marketing's popping off, man? I'm so nervous to hear the long-range box office projections for this thing. I'm so nervous, man. I truly, like, again, it goes back to the Thunderbolts thing. Not everybody feels the way I feel. God, I hope they're right, by the way. Let me just say this. I kind of think Thunderbolts is really bad. And I think Marvel's in like a total low point. And I think a lot of like apathy, straight up apathy has set in for people. I mean, Chicken Jockey's making $1 billion. You can't even get there with 2 Marvel movies in the first quarter of this year. I think it's really bad. Not everybody agrees. And I know they're turning it around. I know they're in process of turning it around. In fact, God damn it, nobody knows that better than me. Okay? I'm super plugged in on this shit. Of course. They're making changes, and Doomsday is going to be hopefully way different. But here's the question about Fantastic Four, man. How much leftover goobly glob from the Phase 4, Phase 5 thinking is in Fantastic Four? How much apathy is out there for the Marvel brand due to all of Phase 4 and 5? You know, I've seen some data, and we don't have great data on this, but I've seen some data to suggest that Superman has been way more in the zeitgeist than Fantastic Four. I don't know for sure. I think this data is going to start coming out pretty soon. Like we're gonna understand how close this race is. We're gonna understand how cooked Marvel might be very soon. Like I definitely want to know what the long range projection for Fantastic Four is. Now, having said that, I think FF has been much higher than Captain America and Thunderbolts as far as like its imprint on social media, like what do people know about it, think about it, the interest to go see it, etc., etc. I think it's obviously going to be higher than Brave New World and Thunderbolts, right? Like we all agree that, right? Like guys, if you believe Fantastic Four is going to do way better than Thunderbolts and Captain America, put a 1 into the chat. I'm just curious. What do you think? I definitely think so. Here's the question, though. How much better? Yeah, tons of 1s flooding into the chat if you're listening on the podcast feed. Yeah, we all believe it's going to do way better. The question is how much better? Because if it's 500 million, that's not that much better. If it's 600 million, that's not that much better. 700 million, now we're starting to talk. 800, 900 million, now you've got a hit. Now it feels like I'm going to breathe a sigh of relief. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to feel a lot more comfortable. I think Marvel will feel a lot more comfortable too if that happens. So we'll see. They are in a interesting position, and they're about to ramp up marketing quite a bit. The competition is steep. It seems like fatigue is at an all-time high. So we're going to have to see how this all fits together with regards to Fantastic Four. And that begins, or I guess the next phase of that begins tonight when we get that trailer. So again, look out, man. I'll probably do a little reaction breakdown video, and then we'll talk about it on stream tomorrow. Now, oh man, speaking of Superman, speaking of Marvel, oh man, I kind of got a feeling here. I got a feeling. I have a premonition. Okay. I need to say something here. And I don't know that a lot of you are going to believe me. Some of you are going to be mad when I say this. I'm starting to feel like we might be entering the age of DC. I'm starting to think that DC might really take over Marvel in a way that, frankly, we've never seen. If you're a comic book fan, I know, chat's already getting fired up. Just chill. Just chill out and hear me out on this, would you? Just walk with me on this. Let me cook. Okay, I've got reasons. First thing I want to say here, everything is all screwed up today. So weird. Okay, first thing I want to say, I've never experienced this in my life, okay? I'm damn near 40 years old. I've been a nerd pretty much my whole fucking life. Reading comics, loving DC, and loving Marvel. DC's always kind of been like the Pepsi Cola to Marvel's Coke. Meaning, they're the biggest two, but Coke's Coke. Coke's always ahead of Pepsi. It's just, that's what it is. It always has been. There have been moments when it's a little closer. There have been moments where DC's doing really, really well. Marvel maybe hasn't been. But overall, DC's always been a little lesser than Marvel, okay? But obviously we're living in different times right now. And if this happens, it will truly recalibrate the entire space of comic book, like American comic book genre. Like I'm telling you right now, it will come with massive fucking changes. And in fact, I got some wild hot takes here, okay? I got some wild hot takes. Here's the first one. If James Gunn's DCU starts outperforming Kevin Feige's Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think it could be the final straw for Kevin. I'm just saying. I think Bob Iger and Disney can stomach quite a bit. And I think they can definitely stomach what's happening right now with Marvel, although they're not super pleased. But if Superman makes like 1.5, maybe more. Like I don't even know if it will, but let's just say it makes like buku bucks. More than Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay? And it's already the case that DC Comics are dominating Marvel Comics sales right now. There's two big initiatives happening at both companies. There's the Ultimates universe at Marvel Studios and a relaunch of X-Men, which fell almost completely flat. And then you have a bunch of stuff going on at DC. So you have the Absolute universe. That's their answer to the Ultimates universe. It's outselling everything at Marvel. You have a new creative team coming on for Batman. I've heard big time rumors of a new creative team for Superman and some wild stuff going on there in their main line. DC, kind of out of nowhere, is dominating the comic book scene and a lot of fandom. And I think at a time, this is what's so weird about this, at a time when Marvel is really faltering. I mean, look at the numbers. We've discussed them. The MCU's kind of cooked. Marvel Comics are kind of cooked. Amazing Spider-Man has been cooked for like 20 years. The X-Men stuff right now is maybe at a all-time low, which is so ironic because Kevin himself and Buckley came over and killed the Krakoa era, and the new shit is just not popping. It's not selling the same. It doesn't have the fans engaged. Marvel's in a weird spot, man. A really weird spot. So that takes us to this. And this is where some of my anticipation of the era of DC is coming from. And by the way, let me just say, let's just admit something. It would be bittersweet. Obviously, I'm not the biggest James Gunn fan. But I love DC, man. I love the DC characters. I love the DC comics. So if DC were to flip and become the biggest part of this conversation, it would be bittersweet because I truly think these characters deserve it. I love the DC universe, man. And some of the greatest comic book writers of all time have had, great stories inside the DC comic sphere. So it would be a little bit bittersweet. But I think it could be something that would really supercharge Marvel into a lot of changes. A lot of changes. So, what am I talking about? DC Studios will finally be coming to San Diego Comic-Con in July. Now, I have dogged on Gunn and DC, the DC Studios. I have given them a lot of shit for not being at Comic-Con for the past couple of years and for not taking advantage of these platforms and these big, nerdy events. They've been kind of quiet and hush-hush on that, and I know he's building a universe, he's doing all this stuff, and look, say one thing, say whatever you want about James Gunn, he's busting his ass right now, he's not even being paid what he should be, frankly, from what I've heard, and that's a damn shame, but it is what it is, and it just shows you that he's sort of taken a sacrifice, in a sense. I mean, yes, it's good for his career, he's given himself $1 million gigs, you know what I mean, but frankly, he would have got those gigs anyway, just elsewhere. The amount of work that Gunn is doing right now, he is not being properly compensated for that. And I think that just shows that he loves DC and he's really, truly trying to do something bigger than just like a paycheck or a career move, right? I honestly believe that. So, San Diego Comic-Con this year. Okay. Man, you would have asked me even 5 or 6 days ago, I would have said, well, that's cool, but they're going to get dominated at Comic-Con. And why would they get dominated at Comic-Con? Because Doomsday's filming, and it's going to come out early the following year. So the possibility for like Doomsday hype and setup from Marvel would be huge. Well, now that movie doesn't come out for a year and a half at the time of Comic-Con. So even though there will be some Doomsday stuff, I feel like they'll kind of play a little closer to the vest. I think they'll leave some stuff for next year. It'll still be really hype. Like, dude, don't get me wrong. But DC has a chance to go nuts at Comic-Con. I think the Superman hype is real. I think a lot of people are very excited about that. They have 2 other projects in production right now that I think are incredible. Supergirl looks so fucking cool, man. From what we've seen with the set photos, it looks awesome, man. Frankly, it looks cooler than Superman to me. I'm very excited for Supergirl. The Lantern Show looks lit, man. The Lantern Show looks lit. And we have barely seen anything, but it's just the quality of that team. The stunt guy and the rings taken off, which Warner Brothers took down. I thought was so stupid, but it looked good. We saw it. They released some set photos recently. They don't have like visual effects and whatnot, but it looks sharp. I think Lanterns has a chance, depending on what they show, to make a big pop and to do something really, really crazy. But I'll tell you this. If they come to Comic-Con and that's all they do, if all they do is show Superman, Supergirl, and the Lantern Show, then they're not going to take over. Okay? But do you know they have other things in the barrel that could really shake things up, okay? And I'm going to make a bold prediction right here. I'm going to make a bold prediction. Depending on where the box office for Superman is at when they go to Comic-Con, I would not be surprised if they announce their Batman and World's Finest. Now, technically speaking, I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. Jeff Snyder recently reported that he has heard that if Superman grosses enough, they want to do World's Finest. It makes sense. There were actually old rumors of World's Finest years ago. Seems like something that's been on James Gunn's mind. And man, I got to tell you, a World's Finest movie. So a World's Finest movie would be awesome regardless. Okay? But if this dude comes out and he announces a World's Finest movie and Superman's like already at $1 billion, that's a different kind of hype, because then you have all these fans and you're going to have a bunch of hardcores, but you'll have normies. I mean, that's what happened with Marvel, dude. Hall H has been happening for like 40 years. It wasn't until Marvel started really popping off that you had to wait in line for a whole day, right? So what's going to happen? The normies will come in. If Superman is a success, if it starts blowing the fuck up and we get to like $1 billion before Comic-Con, bro, they could come out, introduce their Batman. Maybe it's Matt Reeves' boy. Maybe it's not. Kind of doesn't matter. We'd be riding off of the success of Superman. Batman is so popular. He has like all the top selling comics every year. Like, dude, Batman's Batman, right? So if they come out and announce a World's Finest movie, oh my fucking God. Okay, but they have another. Paradise Lost. Do y'all remember Paradise Lost? So to me, when Gunn first announced his slate, and he was talking about that, it was when he shot the little lot in the closet at Warner Brothers. He's talking about how he said some wild shit in that thing, like Shazam's always been in his own little corner, like weird stuff, right? Anyway, one of the projects he first announced was this Paradise Lost thing, and I thought this was such a brilliant idea. Paradise Lost was described as Game of Thrones with the Amazons and Wonder Woman. So a Game of Thrones-esque, like, political intrigue, like everybody's trying to undercut each other and get power, that kind of a show, with the Amazons on Themyscira, or Paradise Island, with Wonder Woman. Bro, are you kidding me? That is a brilliant idea. That is a brilliant idea. And I've heard some little rumblings that that project is actually doing a lot better than people think. Directed by Zack Snyder, W. I think that project is doing better than people think. I think there's been some progress made on the scripts, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled the trigger on that. Again, especially if Superman is successful, because I think Warner Brothers, and rightfully so, Warner Brothers is really waiting. They're waiting to see what happens with Superman. If Superman's a big, big success, I think they're going to pull the trigger on multiple projects, because it's actually not even as much about how much money the movies make. I think Zaslav and Warner Brothers realizes that the DC IP is actually the key to greater brand strength and greater assets for the entire Warner Brothers Discovery company. That is the big difference between Marvel and the MCU and a lot of other film studios, franchises, etc. is like, Marvel's a machine, and it has created so much ancillary wealth to even the films. And the films, of course, crush. Not so much anymore, right? But the films crushed for so long, and there's so much other value there that Disney's going to be fine, even if Fantastic Four makes like Thunderbolts numbers, truly. But DC and Warner Brothers, what they are looking for is social signaling from moviegoers and the wider audience of just like nerds and consumers that this new DCU is a thing, and a thing that they want to be involved with and get into and, make purchases for, and potentially go to amusement parks and all sorts of stuff, man. Like, they want it bad, bro. That's what this whole experiment, that's what the whole thing with Gunn, bringing him in and bringing Safran in, that's the whole thing. It's a massive bet on Zaslav's part to get some of that MCU magic to help the literal company. So what I'm saying to you is, because of the way Superman is happening, Superman's going to come out, I think, 3 weeks before San Diego Comic-Con. I believe, maybe more. It's either 3 or 4 weeks before San Diego. So it has time to have made its first weekend opening box office, and then potentially even crept. Oh, it's only 2 weeks? Okay, that's a little bit different. But still, it's tight. But if this thing going into week 2 is looking crazy successful, I think they're going to pull the trigger, and they're going to make some insane announcements at Comic-Con. That's what I would hope for. Again, I think Gunn understands the nerd culture. He spent enough time with Kevin and Marvel to understand how important San Diego Comic-Con is for that brand. And so that's another part of the reason why I was so mad that he wasn't going to Comic-Con and shit. But, like, guys, like, we could really be seeing a shift. You know what I mean? And I guess for me, it would depend on how I feel about Superman. But again, even if I don't love Superman as much as some of you guys, just because some of the James Gunn stuff, again, it's Supergirl, it's Lanterns, it's potentially World's Finest, and all these other projects, right? Like the Paradise Lost. Bro, that's a strong catalog. And at a time when Marvel seems to just have so many problems, so much fatigue, people are just not looking at Marvel the same way. DC's either going to run into a lot of problems because of what Marvel did, like Marvel might have soured the entire space, and DC's going to have to live with that, or DC could represent a revitalization of that space, and you could see all of these fans that used to love Marvel and love talking about Marvel as much, start to shift into the DCU. So I don't know, man. From where I'm sitting, I think it's a strong possibility. Marvel just... It's really hard to outrun the kind of brand damage that I think they've created. And although DC has had a lot of the same brand damage, I think there's so much emphasis on Superman, and it's just so much more exciting to have a new thing and the new chapter. So I think there's some inherent excitement that even Fantastic Four will not be able to capture. So we'll just see. I'm predicting a very big Comic-Con for DC and for Marvel, which means it's going to be a very big Comic-Con for us, ladies and gentlemen. That might be a day, depending on if DC's the same day. That might be a long day of streaming and nerding out. But I'm really excited. I'm excited to see how all of that goes. Thanks for watching. And if you like this clip, smash a like on the actual video and subscribe to this channel. That way more of these clips get into your feed. I've also linked the full episode below if you want to check out the entire thing, including the Q&A we do with fans. You can also watch this show live. We do it live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And you can also find all of my content, including the videos I put on my main YouTube channel, on the podcast feed.